Well, John Huber is not taking the sentence lightly. And yeah, I understand why. I mean, he did lose his son in all this. We can't criticize him for that. However, he goes on Joy Reid's show, which creates an echo chamber of the highest order, and continues to spout ideas and stuff that just make you wonder, did you watch the same trial that we did? Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
Now to the question dividing America. Kyle Rittenhouse, hero or vigilante?
Hero. Actually, neither, to be honest with you. I don't consider him a hero. He's certainly not a vigilante.
3 people were shot when Rittenhouse crossed state lines into Kenosha with an assault-style weapon.
Oh my God. She still believes this. Or does she? It's irresponsible either way.
Equipped for war. Many people still don't even know their names. Gage Grosskreutz is the lone survivor who testified that he confronted Rittenhouse with a gun because he thought he was an active shooter.
Yeah, he thought wrong. You pay for your mistakes.
Then Rittenhouse nearly shot his arm off and was acquitted for it. The other 2 men were fatally shot by Rittenhouse, who are named Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber. And with me now is Anthony Huber's father, John Huber. So, Mr. Huber, thank you for being here. I've spent some time today sitting with this Washington Post piece that went through a really detailed timeline of what happened the night your son was killed. And I want to wish you condolences for losing your son. But it also talked a little bit about his life, which was tough. It was difficult. He had a lot of issues, personal issues with his mom and hoarding in the house and other things. Talk a little bit about your son and what he was dealing with when he was alive.
Yeah, he had issues with his brother, issues with his sister, never minding the fact that some of those issues got him arrested. But we'll just call them issues. This is called sweeping it under the carpet.
Yeah, I don't know where that information came from about his home life. He had a good mom, and he had a good family. He had an incident with his brother, got out of hand, and the mom called 911.
Oh, is that all? He just had an incident with his brother and his mom called 911. What did she say on the phone? Yes, we have an incident at our house. I think they would have asked, like, what's going on there? My son is threatening to kill his brother with a butcher knife. He actually physically attacked his brother with a butcher knife. I think that's what she would have said, not just, we're having an incident at our house.
And like anyone should, it got out of hand. And from there, it just got worse,
It got worse. Oh, tell us about it.
But he was a good kid. He wouldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, he wouldn't hurt anybody. Let's take a look here and see if he would hurt anybody. This is just one example. This is from the Wisconsin Circuit Court Access. And let's see, we'll scroll down here. According to this, he was charged with battery. He's a repeater and domestic abuse. And he pled guilty to disorderly conduct and domestic abuse. But he wouldn't hurt anybody.
Now, one of the other things, and I did get that he was a skateboarder, and that was sort of the thing that brought him joy and happiness.
He was a skateboarder. That's the only thing anybody ever says about him. He was a skateboarder. Did he do anything besides skateboarding? Let's see how often they mention skateboarding when they talk about Anthony Huber.
Skateboarding, that was his outlet.
Outlet from what?
He was a part of some of these protests, partly because he knew Jacob Blake, who was the black man who was shot by police multiple times and left paralyzed. So he knew him. Is that your understanding?
Right. Yes.
And
and he expressed his for what happened to Jacob Blake.
Yeah. And so in your mind, why do you think he was there that day?
Probably to skateboard.
Well, for one thing is he he loved to skateboard.
Actually, I did not know he was going to say that. Honest.
He was there skateboarding. There was probably 1,000 other people on the street that night, and that's where he skateboarded. You know, he had every right to be there. And you know, he was there helping people.
Yeah. And
he was there helping people. How? What was he doing? He doesn't say.
In your mind, was your son the type of person who would have confronted somebody he saw have a gun? Is that something that reads with what you knew about your son?
You know, it was a pretty dangerous and heroic attempt by him. And I don't think I would have had the nerve to do that, what he did.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, not because of nerve, but because of brains. What he did was insanely stupid. And it cost him his life.
And he was trying to stop a shooter. He was trying to stop an active shooter. They all saw Rosenbaum get killed.
They all saw Rosenbaum get killed. Really? No, Anthony Huber did not. We know that. His own girlfriend spilled the beans on that one.
Everyone saw that. Everyone that was there saw Rosenbaum get killed.
No, nobody there saw Rosenbaum get killed except for Richard McGinnis and maybe the Zeminskis. There might have been 2 others, maybe. We don't know who they are.
That kid turned around and mowed down Rosenbaum. He just mowed him down. I don't know what videos these other people are watching, and I don't know how the jury came to that, except for the fact that the judge had his hand on the scale of justice.
What other videos are they watching? Well, we watched the videos that were introduced by the prosecution. That's the ones we saw and the same ones that the jury saw. Now, I don't know what videos you saw, but if you had one that showed Kyle Rittenhouse being guilty, you should have submitted that one to the prosecution and they would have loved it because they were really looking hard for something. But okay, you do you.
That I saw a video where he just turned and mowed that guy down. Rosenbaum didn't touch him. And from there, he became an active shooter and he ran away. He ran away from a murder scene like a coward, and he was just trying to get away, and he used deadly force to get away.
He only used deadly force when people tried to stop him from getting away. That is very clear on the video, and really, everybody agrees to that except you.
That's it.
And what would you say if you could talk to this judge and to this jury about the decision that, I mean, you could say they collectively made because the judge made it pretty clear that that was what he supported happening.
Oh, come on. Knock it off. You're an asshole.
I don't know how they were able to decide that Rittenhouse was in danger.
Well, let's see here. I'll tell you how. Jojo Rosenbaum had covered his face with his T-shirt so that he could not be recognized. He ambushed Kyle and chased him, unlike what you told everybody else some months ago when you claimed that it was Rittenhouse chasing Rosenbaum across a parking lot. I don't know what kind of weed you had been smoking, but nobody believed that, not even Binger. So he's chasing Kyle across a parking lot. He yells, "Fuck you" at him. He tries to grab his gun. I think those count as putting somebody's life in danger. Now, you may disagree, but there is one truth that you cannot deny, and that is Joseph Rosenbaum didn't have to attack Kyle. He didn't have to chase him. He did those things willingly, and it cost him his life. And frankly, that's too bad. I mean, you make bad decisions, these things happen.
That his life was threatened because a little guy was screaming at obscenities at him. Yeah. He went there with a gun to be a menace and to be a big man with a gun where he didn't belong.
He doesn't belong there. He's a big man with a gun. Still doesn't mean that you must attack him. As far as the menace goes, we all watched the video of him walking around Kenosha. Saw no evidence of that whatsoever.
And what did he think was going to happen? What did the police think was going to happen with this little kid out on the street with an AR-15? Nobody questioned him because he was on their side, because he picked their side. Little white kid with an AR-15, oh, he's on our side. We don't have to question him. Matter of fact, we'll coordinate with him, give him a water bottle, and say, good job, kid, now go home. Oh, you killed somebody? We're not interested.
I'll let it slide.
And I guess my last question to you before I have to let you go is what is your family dealing with right now? I mean, you're having to absorb the loss of your son and this verdict.
Can we put the word family in quotation marks? Really, I mean family.
How is the family handling it?
When we heard the verdict, it was like he got killed all over again. We had to relive this all over again. And every time we seen it on TV and every time it was brought up and all these attacks on him and us, those people should be ashamed of themselves. And we feel like we've been raped. We've been raped by half of the country that supported him. And those people should be ashamed of themselves. He's a murderer. That guy is a murderer. He murdered 2 people, and he has 2 murders on his conscience. And he doesn't have a conscience.
Then he doesn't have 2 murders on his conscience. Okay. I'm going to let a lot of this slide. He's angry. I get it. He's going to lash out and maybe say things that are irrational. However, I did support Kyle. I gave him money to help him in his defense. And no, I am not ashamed of it one iota. And the very reason I am not ashamed is because I considered him not guilty. He was innocent in my mind, and therefore I have no problem supporting him. If I really truly felt that he had done something wrong, I would not have supported him.
I believe he lied on the stand, and that Richards guy, in order to say, we don't promote the violence that the gun people are saying, but he's the one who called in the gun people to help his cause.
Wait, when did Mark Richards ever do that? I have a feeling that he's got the lawyers confused. That's how closely he followed things in his trial. He's thinking that Mark Richards is Lynn Wood or John Pierce. I don't recall Mark Richards ever calling the gun people in, and in fact, that would have violated his strategy. His whole strategy was based on not getting the politics confused with the defense. So this is just bone dead ignorance here.
It shouldn't have been about the gun, or it shouldn't have been a Republican Democrat issue. No,
it shouldn't have been about the gun. Well, if that's true, don't charge him with the gun crime. Binger's the one that made it about the gun by charging him with a violation of 948.60. Sorry, not Mark Richards' fault.
Nobody's wanting their guns. Nobody wants their guns. What are they afraid of?
Well, now it sounds like you're making it about a gun issue. All right.
And the president shouldn't have spoke up about it either. Trump had no business weighing in on it.
Well, wait, Trump was criticized because he didn't weigh in. They wanted him to come out and denounce Kyle Rittenhouse, and he refused to do it. And now you're upset that he did weigh in. You're just upset that he weighed in on the wrong side in your mind. So cut this crap about, well, Trump had no business getting involved in this case. If he had come in and denounced Kyle and supported your side, you wouldn't be saying that.
I stopped supporting him that day he offended me when he said, oh, looks like self-defense. We didn't even know all the details. Nobody even seen all the videos.
Yet you're willing to go out later, months later, and say that it was Kyle Rittenhouse chasing Rosenbaum across the parking lot. So how much did you really know about this case before you shot your big mouth off?
And he spoke up on it. Who does he think he is?
The president.
An expert? I lost all respect for him.
I want to let you talk back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, because Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was tweeting at me and, thinking that she was hurting me. I do TV for a living. You're not going to hurt me by tweeting at me.
Well, then why are you even bringing this up? Okay.
But she also disparaged your son and the other two victims, Joseph Rosenbaum and Gage Grosskreutz. And she called them a child rapist, a woman beater, both convicted, both white, both men.
Yeah, that's accurate. Let's see here. She defends a child rapist. That's true. And a woman beater. Yeah, that's true too. Anthony Huber is a woman beater. We have it on record. He was convicted.
They, who she says, tried to kill a 17-year-old. And she was referring to Mr. Rosenbaum having had a criminal record, having, spent a lot of time in prison, having had a lot of issues, personal issues of abuse of himself and abuse, and was really in prison for a while, dealing with a lot of mental health issues. You're saying that the things that were said about your son having some issues as well, legal issues, et cetera.
Legal issues, some issues as well, some legal issues. Oh, come on, come out and say it. He was convicted of a violent crime. Actually, multiple violent crimes.
You're saying those aren't true.
They're not true? Okay, let him answer the question. Come on, Joy. You're going to pose the question to him. Let him answer it. Did he get convicted of a violent crime against a woman?
What do you make of her attacking your son and the other person who died, who was...
Instead of asking him that question, she wants him to talk about the person who posted the question, the Marjorie Green Taylor, or whatever her name is.
Killed.
Man, I hope she's never sitting in our shoes. I hope she never has to deal with the death of a child and then have all this controversy and scandal around it. So we can't even grieve his death. We haven't even gotten to grieve yet. And how do they know? What does she think? It's okay to kill people that have something on their record like that?
In self-defense? Yeah.
So let's just shoot them in the street? That's what she's saying. She's saying, okay, go kill them in the street.
Because why? He's not going to say it. He doesn't want to come out and admit that his son is actually a violent dude and a total leech on society. Yeah, he loves to skateboard, and that's all because he didn't have a job. Worthless.
We'll kill them in the street because they have a record for being a child rapist, or because my son got in a fight with everyone in his house.
Oh, he got in a fight with everybody in his house. That's why he was in trouble? Really? That's called an argument, and you don't go to jail for that. So he's laying out a big old euphemism here. He's unwilling to admit what his son did. So I'm sorry. You know what we call that? Dishonesty.
He did. His brother used to pick on him. He finally fought back.
With a butcher knife. Okay.
And Anthony was a pacifist. He was a pacifist. And eventually he got mad about it.
Okay, pacifist. Let's take a look here. Battery, repeater, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse. He's a repeater. Yeah, he's a real pacifist. What a bunch of horse manure.
But this stuff with Rittenhouse, he was trying to save people. He was trying to stop a mass shooter. That's what it was.
Yeah, I doubt that. He saw a young Republican patriot type on the run. He's a small kid, and he's carrying one of those AR-15 rifles that he hated so much. And the kid's trying to get to the police, and Anthony Huber is going to try to stop him. He wasn't trying to stop Kyle from shooting people. Kyle could have shot numerous people by then if he'd really wanted to. Anthony Huber just wanted to brain him. So cut the crap. Your son was no angel. He had a violent past. He had no job. He was worthless. And by the way, look, if you're out looking for work and you can't find it, that's different. I'm talking about people who simply don't want to work. He didn't want to work.
John Huber, thank you for spending some time with us this evening. We really appreciate your time. And again, our condolences to you and your family for your loss. Thank you.
Okay, here's the issue I have. I understand he's a grieving father. I understand that he's going to come on and sort of defend his son. But you have to understand that you bringing in a guest in here to lie is a real problem from a journalistic ethics standpoint. Just because he's a grieving father doesn't give him a license to lie. And he is distorting what took place there. He distorted it back in the day when he claimed it was Kyle that was chasing Rosenbaum. This guy is really upset and he's willing to say anything to get people to rally behind the memory of his son. But as a journalist, you're not allowed to do this kind of crap. If you're going to have a fair interview here, you have to be honest about Anthony Huber's past. Joy Reid, you helped him sweep all that under the rug. And this is the reason why people don't trust MSNBC or any of these major news outlets. This is called propaganda. You knew very well Anthony Huber's past, and you're trying to suppress it. And you're trying to suppress it because it doesn't fit your agenda. That is the definition of propaganda. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, really do subscribe, guys. Come on. I need some more subscribers.